Again, today was padded with third down emphasis. So we've had 2 days with really a third down install. Tomorrow we'll move into the red zone when we get into some of these team periods. Any questions? Yeah, so look, yes, he's got an Achilles tear. Spoke to him last night. Of course, he's disappointed. My understanding was a year ago almost to the day. I think the hard thing, and I said it yesterday, is for a player that's spent most of his offseason rehabbing, then all of a sudden to hit another roadblock. He sounded better last night. He's tough-minded. He's a real good leader. And the good news is it's a clean injury, and that there's a better than likely 100% recovery. It's pretty clean relative to the type of surgery he's going to have. I don't have a date yet when that's going to take place, but that's where we're at there.
Sean, from what you've seen from Russell Wilson, essentially 6 practices, how much better and how much has he improved from what you saw on tape?
Yeah, it's hard because there were a lot of other factors a year ago, and we're really focused on what he's doing within the offense. Obviously, he's moving around well. His weight's down. He's in real good shape. He's working really hard. There are a lot of nuances still we're working through. There's some good things in the running game today. Each day, you kind of look at the film and you start again with the corrections. But I've been pleased with his progress and where he's at, really dating back to the offseason and to where we are now into our first full week.
Sean, what is your assessment of KJ Hamler, his situation?
Yeah, so his is unique, and it's unique condition. We had a long visit with him. With him, the good news is we feel like, I don't want to put a prognosis or timeline on it, but approximately a month, probably another couple weeks to get in football shape. So we're hopeful that once the symptoms dissipate and he's cleared, then that leaves us a lot of options. And so we spent a lot of time with he and his agent, coming up with the best plan, and we feel like we have a good one.
But KJ and Tim, those guys have both been through a lot, obviously. What do you say to those guys?
Listen, I think, look, all of us, when you get ready for a break or rehab, you want to know there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I think it's important that they hear that from me and George, and that's the purpose of the meeting we had with KJ. He was good, obviously disappointed, but with his situation, it's more of a condition than an injury. It's something that's new relative to, he's never had a history of it, and so it's a little unique, but the good news is we feel like, about a month and a half from now, that option, based on how he's feeling, we feel like that is a chance to work out in his favor and our favor.
Is this secondary, having the one you saw on tape, is it living up to the billing that you see out here every day?
Listen, when I watch them, the first thing you see is they have ball skills, they're smart, and their experience. You see the communication, so it's hard to find completions in some of these drills. They do a really good job of it. And they force you and some of their 7.5-man fronts to be patient and run the ball. They're a challenge.
Sean, what do you think from your young pass rushers?
Those guys are doing well. We had one-on-one work yesterday. Again, one-on-one. We went to 9-on-7 today. I think it's 2 days in with the pads, and this is when we get a chance to see them. So, we're hopeful some of those younger guys come on.
Is Devontae doing better than even expected since he practiced every single day?
Yeah, I think back in the spring when we visited and we talked about him, I think all of you rightfully so, were a little surprised to hear that he might be on time, not on PUP. We still have to be mindful of his reps and understand that, an ACL recovery is X amount of time, and then they tell you it continues to heal into year 2. So we're doing a good job of working him through the scripts and the practice plans, and then being patient with what we're asking him to do. But I've been pleased to to see him out here and not having to miss, a week or two. And that was to his credit. The offseason he's had, some guys recover quicker from that injury than others. And fortunately for us, he's doing a good job doing that.
9-on-7 drill, kind of the ultimate camp, training camp.
Yeah, we've always, when the pads come on, we've always had 9-on-7 and 1-on-1 with the receivers. You'll see a lot of it in this camp. I mean, it's just something I'm familiar with.
What are the things that you see Jared Stidham doing better now than perhaps on the film before you got?
Well, the film we had, obviously, were 2 games from the end of the season and preseason tape all the way back to New England. I think he's just getting more and more familiar with what we're doing offensively. Made a couple good throws today on 3rd down. He can beat you with his feet a little bit as well. And I think it's just getting the system down and the timing with the other receivers. But he's handling the installs well. He's smart.
Who has the best rookie performance so far in 9 years?
Well, we've only had one night, so it'd be a little early. 2 guys last night did a pretty good job, but I don't want to – we just started. So maybe we give out that award later on here.
When you signed Zach Allen, you talked about his effort, his intensity, and then the improvement. How do you see that?
He's a real good technician. The one thing about him, he's always going to be fit in the right gap. He's real smart. He is a high-effort, energy player. He does a good job of getting an edge, getting on the lineman's edge. So we're pleased with what we've seen. And, again, it's early.
What's Brandon? I know it's early. Brandon Johnson.
Yeah, look, he's had some big plays. He's getting more work now with the ones. He can run. And, all of them, especially on offense, are learning new terminology, but he's picking it up. He's getting it, and he's flashed. He's made some plays, and then he'll line up 2 yards too wide. We got to get it corrected, but we're at that point where we keep talking about, eliminating the repeated mistakes. So we make the corrections. Let's make sure, we don't have to go through that again.
Did you know much about Brandon? And is that an example of people who told us that don't worry about how you got
Listen, a lot of these guys I didn't know a lot about, and so I've said it before. We're going to go by what we see. It'd be silly for us to do anything else.
What's your assessment of the kicking battle so far?
It's back and forth. Those guys for today was, I think, our 3rd, field goal session. We had, the first time we missed one. They're doing good. I really like the player. I remember him when he came out for the draft. He had this funny workout video that we all saw. And you get here and you see his strength, and he's one of those guys that's very powerful. He's a real good athlete, and I like that room a lot. And so never really haven't been around him. I remember him when he came out in the draft, but I've been really encouraged and just meeting him and getting to know those guys. It's a good group. It's a close group now.
He walked off the field about 10 minutes before practice, and did anything happen in practice?
Say it again.
He left practice.
Yeah, he's fine. Nothing, no update. I'll let you know when it's time.
Sean, you say you guys go by what you see, right? Now that they're in pads, are there some things that happen with certain guys where you go, I didn't know he could do
Yes, 100%. 100%. It's happened every year. As a head coach for me, there's always been a few players they look different in pads and they play differently, and it's interesting. And that's why we're always guarded to make those early evaluations until we get into pads. So we've got a lot of reps ahead of us, a lot of preseason work ahead of us, scrimmage games, preseason games. But it's good to see them in the actual game-like tempo and dress that they're going to be evaluated and play in. So, yeah, I think that I can think of a number of players that were just completely seen differently once we put the pads on. And hopefully it's always a positive way. Sometimes it's the other way.
As a head coach, how much time do you devote to the defensive end during training camp?
During training camp, we have staff meetings at night. We go through what we're going to do in practice. We talk about the schedules. We had a personnel meeting the other day. We went through exclusively the whole roster. Periodically, I'll get with Vance on, something we're trying to accomplish in a drill. And then in season would be me walking down, what do we what do we have to stop this week, and having those discussions. And then just as importantly during the game, understanding how we're playing a certain game, Vance and the defensive side of the ball, offensively, all of us on the same page. We're not just calling plays and calling defenses. We have to understand how we're going to win that game. So I think right now, to answer your question, it's nightly in the meetings. Periodically, I like walking down that hallway anyway. That's where the coffee machine is. So I'll have a question or two.
How nice is it though to have fans? I mean, you're looking at some former head coaches for that spot.
Yeah, it's good to have experience. He's someone I've always respected. I told you guys that back when we hired him. Over the years, we've had a number of games against each other, and he's just been one of those guys that I think is a real good leader in front of the room, a good communicator, and I think he's doing a great job with that side of the ball. But I think his experience is helpful, for me.
Thank you very much, Coach.
All right.